Hey there, Chef D Malfi here, and welcome to Plant-Based Made Easy. Today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious lunch recipe. And while I do that, I'm going to get into my own testimony because today's Testimony Tuesday. I'm going to share with you why I've gone plant-based. And usually I have a guest in the studio with me every Tuesday, but occasionally it's just going to be me and you. So today I'm going to get to know you and your story a little bit while I share a little bit about me and my story. And I'm going to cook you some lunch. Today I'm going to be making a mushroom BLT sandwich. This mushroom BLT sando is so delicious because it doesn't take that long to make and it has so much flavors. So much flavorful. It has so many flavors that you're going to love it. I love delicious and easy recipes, and that's kind of the MO here at Plant-Based Made Easy. Whatever we can do to make the food easy, healthy, and delicious is exactly what I'm all about. So if you want this recipe, you can get it right out of my cookbook, Plant-Based Made Easy, issue number 9. And I love writing a new cookbook every single month. What it is, it's a month-long resource for you. It's a cookbook that's going to give you breakfasts, lunches, dinners, snacks, sweet recipes, and even staple recipes. Those are things like plant-based milk, cheese, bread, and yogurt. And yes, it even includes dessert recipes. That's why I included a sweet section. But today we're talking about lunch as I talk about my testimony. So we're going to be making a mushroom BLT. Have you ever had mushroom BLT before? It is so good. All right, you guys. Well, I'm going to just put my cookbook aside. I'm going to do an overhead cam too, so that in case you want to see what I'm doing, you can kind of like follow along. You can get any of the cool recipes out of any of my cookbooks. I have lots of different cookbooks. I write one every single month. So these are just going to be here so that it reminds you of all the offerings that I have. And I'm going to tell you that you can get this right from the link in the comment box. And if you have any questions along the way, just go ahead and type it in the comment box and I'd love to engage with you. All right? All right, cool. So let's get into it. Let's talk about this recipe. Like I said, it's really simple. First things first, we need some mushrooms. So I'm going to do a split cam so you can really see what I'm doing and working with today. So today I'm going to be using cremini mushrooms. These are baby portobellos, but you can also use portobello mushrooms. That would work really well. Either or. This is what I had on hand, so this is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to make a marinade. Now, this marinade is going to be basically like the smoky, sweet, delicious sauce that is going to be lacquered all over these mushrooms. And then we're going to bake them in the toaster oven, and it's going to turn out like mushroom bacon. It's like even better than bacon because it's made out of mushrooms and not pigs. All right, so let's get into it. I want a clean bowl and I'm going to make my marinade. First things first, I want some coconut aminos or liquid aminos. So I'm going to use coconut aminos today. Actually, I'll do half and half just to show you. I have both. This is coconut aminos and here are liquid aminos. Both are really great ingredients. Have you ever seen these at the market before? These are all-purpose seasonings. Usually they come from soy protein. This one is a soy protein base. This one is a coconut base. Both of them are going to give you basically a soy sauce flavor without gluten, and it is going to not contain any soy as well. So it's going to, the coconut aminos, that is. So it's going to give you a sweetness and a savory umami flavor without gluten, because soy does contain gluten. And it's going to give you that umami flavor that we want. That is actually within bacon. So we want to kind of mimic that. So I'm going to do half and half because I can. And the coconut aminos tends to be a little sweeter than the liquid aminos. So I'm going to add just a little bit of that. And then liquid aminos as well. All right, so now to this, I can add some smoky ingredients. Now, I really like smoked paprika, one of my favorite ingredients in my plant-based kitchen because it's going to give me that smokiness without actually adding without actually having to smoke the mushrooms. So I'm going to add a little bit of this. And the other ingredient that you can use, which I'm going to use just a splash of, is Hickory liquid smoke. Now this here is right from my Amazon storefront. I'll put the link to that at the end of the show so that you can grab some. Okay, I'm just going to add a little bit of this. Just a couple splashes, right? And then I also want some balsamic vinegar or sherry vinegar, something that's going to give you kind of like a sweetness, but also an acid vinegariness. So I'm going to use a little sherry because that's what I have today. And a little bit of maple syrup because we can't have a delicious bacon without it being both sweet and savory. So the maple syrup is going to go really well in this recipe here. I'm going to use organic maple from Trader Joe's. Throw that right in. And then last but not least, some avocado oil. I need some fat here. You can do without it. It's definitely optional, but I'm going to use a little avocado oil. You can use avocado, or you can use extra virgin olive oil, or you can use cold filtered water, or none of the above. Totally up to you. I know a lot of people that watch our whole food plant-based, so they're not going to use oil. So if that's you, that's okay. I'm just going to use a little bit of this. I suppose you could even use coconut oil, but just make sure it's in liquid form. Okay. Perfect. And then just give this a mix. All right, so now it's time to get into our Plant-Based Made Easy testimonies. So you guys, I want to hear from you. I always love these Tuesday shows because we get into why we went plant-based, what it's all about for us. You know, what our reasons might be different, but we all sort of tend to meet in the middle. So when I first went plant-based, I realized that in talking to other people about their journey, that we kind of all have a similar story. Whether it be for health reasons or whether it be for wanting to help the planet, to lose weight, to feel better. And I really want to know, what was your reason for going plant-based? Will you type it in the comment box if you're here watching? Even if you're not fully plant-based, that is a-okay too. This does not have to be a conversation for just vegans. And in fact, I don't want it to be. This show is all about getting all of us a part of the conversation. So if you are partly plant-based, or if you're just making plants more of a priority on your plate, kudos. That's awesome. You do not have to be full plant-based to be a part of our community, or to even get goodness out of these episodes or my recipes. I think that there's power in just making plant foods more of a priority on the plate for sure. And so as you guys are like sharing your story, I hope that you'll type into the comment box, why did you initially go plant-based or start to make plants a priority? What was that? What was that about? What initiated that change in your life? Please tell me. I'll tell you mine. So I actually went plant-based at the very start of COVID-19, so the very beginning of the pandemic. I see here that Michelle is writing, she went plant-based for health issues. Thank you for sharing that, Michelle. I really appreciate that. And while I didn't go plant-based for health issues, I actually went plant-based because I drew an immediate connection between eating animals and the pandemic that we started to face. So I drew a connection between COVID and eating animals. And I don't know what it was, but the moment I realized and learned about, as we all sort of did eventually, learned about how COVID began, I really immediately sort of drew a heart connection that, you know, the way in which we treat our animals or animal kingdom is really having a great impact and negative impact on our lives as humans. And so I really kind of started to get really curious about this. And I'd always been interested in veganism. I definitely have always more leaned on the vegetarian side than the meat eating side. But I've been a chef for many years, for 15 years. And so I definitely love meat. I used to represent a salmon company. I would talk about eating all different types of cuisine, meat products, animal-based products like butter, cheese, regular yogurt, until the beginning of the pandemic. And here's my story. So last year, I was in the middle of doing an amazing project that I do for Disney every year called the Food and Wine Festival. I'm the host and the producer of the Disney Food and Wine Festival every year. And I have been working on this with Disney for 5 years straight. And what I do is I create a bunch of shows that are in park at Disney in California that are all about healthy living and all about celebrating the seasons and the produce that comes from the great state of California. And we talk and we dance, and I host a lot of chefs on stage, but I also have had the opportunity to write and produce my own in-park shows called Family Time at Food and Wine. And in these shows, I decided that I was going to produce in 2020 a show that was all about eating healthy and using the power of plant foods as the priority in our homes and when cooking. And it was such a hit. Well, here's what happened. We were about 3 weeks into an 8-week run of the festival. And obviously Disney, with everyone else in the world, had to close, had to shut down shop. So Disney called me in on the very final day of Disney's being open and said, will you come in one final day to do your show on the final day of the park being open? And I said, of course I will. And I had this really interesting, crazy experience of doing my show one final time. And it was kind of surreal because I was at the park and I was really kind of educating people on how to live and be healthy using the power of plant foods. And I did my show, and it attracted quite an audience. There was a lot of people there on the final day of Disney's last open day before the pandemic. So there were hundreds of people that watched, and it was really an amazing experience. I'm going to pause right here and I'm going to go back to our mushroom bacon. So you can see the marinade has been soaked up with these mushrooms. Look how delicious this looks already. I'm going to preheat my oven to 425 degrees. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer my mushrooms onto a baking sheet lined with a parchment mat. Now this is a sustainable mat, not parchment. This is a sustainable mat. You can cut your own size. I cut them to match the size of my toaster oven sheet pans. And again, these are on my Amazon storefront if you're curious too. So I'm just going to throw these mushrooms on and pop them in the oven, and then we'll get the rest of the sando working. So yeah, I was at Disney and I was doing my last show, and we had a huge number of people show up for the very final show. And I remember the experience of after the show thinking, wow, what an incredible opportunity to be living right now, because I am producing this show that's all about healthy living. And now we've just got word, the whole world, that we're in the middle of this global pandemic and we have to basically shelter in place. And through this experience, I remember I left the stage that final day and I sort of was feeling like I was on cloud nine. Like was totally injected with inspiration, like something about doing the show and being in this moment in time where, we were about to shelter in place and no one really knew what was going on or how this would be handled. And all I could think about was how good it felt to be in service of other people and other people's health. And so I levitated off the stage basically into my dressing room, and I was feeling like fueled and fired up, like so excited, right? So I get in my dressing room and I'm packing up, getting all my stuff, taking my makeup off, and I get this huge intuition, this hit that all of a sudden I hear a voice that sounds like mine that says to me in my dressing room while I'm alone, Daniela, you will no longer use animals. And I remember thinking, it sounds like me. Is this me? What is this? Is this my inner voice? Like, is this God? Like, what's happening? Right? At this crazy moment. And I remember I came home that night and I told my husband at the time, Danny, I need to tell you what happened. I'm going to put these in the oven. And I shared with him what had happened. I shared with him, I heard something, this message came to me that I would no longer eat animals. And at that point, I literally became obsessed with learning everything that I could about being plant-based, about what the benefits of being plant-based were, why people make this lifestyle change, what people's intentions for going plant-based are. Either health issues, medical reasons, because they want to support the environment, because they want to lose weight, because they don't want animals to be abused, whatever it is. And so I started watching every documentary and reading books and reading articles and listening to podcasts and studying it. And within 2 weeks, I was crystal clear. I thought, I'm now going to completely go plant-based. And not only am I going to do it, but I'm going to change my entire business model and philosophy and ethos in the kitchen. And so I'm personally going to take a stand for how I eat, but I'm going to professionally take a stand as well. And it was a huge deal for me. It was really a moment of feeling like I was called to action. Like there was nothing that was going to stop this ball that was rolling. I was being moved, for lack of a better word. And it was, maybe it was my internal inspiration, maybe it was divinely guided. I don't know, but it was really something that was outside of me or within me or both that was really kind of encouraging me along the way. And so that is when I created Plant-Based Made Easy. And I knew right away at first it wasn't as clear as, I'm going to do a show and then I'm going to have a cookbook and I'm going to create a community. It was really like, let me start by doing online cooking clubs. So I did 2 weeks of online cooking clubs. And what I found was really, really interesting. I actually found that by me actually not living on the fence, either I'm in or am I out, like by me actually deciding that this the way that I want to eat and I want to proclaim it. I want to share this with the world. I don't want to push people to go vegan. I don't need people to believe what I believe, but I want people to have the information and the access to the information that I have discovered along this way. And I too want to help to bridge that gap and help to connect in people's heart and minds our relationship to the animal kingdom and how it is really impacting not only us as individuals, but us as a collective, right? As a world. That's why we're in this pandemic. And so here we go. That is how this all like began. And I have to tell you, like, since doing it, it's funny because I've done media work for and cooking. I've been cooking professionally for 15 years, like I said, and I've been doing media work and I've had many shows. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yeah. I guess I lost audio. I think you can hear me now. Anyway, Michelle Childs mentioned she went plant-based because of health issues, and I know, Michelle, you've shared a little bit more about your experience and what health issues you have been dealing with, and you've been a part of our plant-based. Can you guys hear me now? All right. I'm just going to keep this here so that I can make sure that you don't lose sound again. Sorry about it. All right. So I'm going to finish this up because I think we're going to lose sound. I don't know why that's happening. Can you guys hear me? Hear me? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to finish this up with a Is that better? That should be better. Yeah, you guys should be able to hear me now, right? Yeah, okay, cool. I'm getting something here. You can hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I think you can hear me now. Please let me know. Sita, will you let me know? Mario, will you let me know? All right, Mario says yes. Okay, we're back. You guys, I'm really sorry about that. It was the microphone. So I just wanted to continue what I was saying. I'm going to come back and just reiterate this really quickly. Wendy said that she really wanted to go plant-based. She wanted to feel better about herself. She wanted to eat healthier. And she's asking for any tips for beginners. You bet I have tips for beginners. Absolutely. I want you to know that you are welcome here, Wendy. Thank you for being a part of our community. I know that you have been. I want you to know that the tips that I have for beginners is to get in the kitchen and have fun with your recipes. Use these recipes as a resource. And if this is not the right resource for you, find another. There's a ton of books. There's a ton of podcasts. There's a lot of great documentaries out there. I want you guys to watch, if you haven't done so already, Game Changers. It is, I think, the best plant-based documentary ever made yet to date. And it is amazing, you guys. I'll put a link in the comment box at the end of the show to watch that documentary if you want. It's really wonderful. When we start to get and collect information, we start to get inspired. So that's what I would say for beginners is just jump in, start to collect information, start to get into the kitchen and eat healthy and make it super simple and fun. And you can use my resource as my recipes as the resource for you. Michelle, I love this. Michelle is sharing that she had Epstein-Barr virus, which caused a lot of health issues. Besides the fatigue and the GI issues, she had terrible joint pain. And then when you started your journey, you found that you didn't have any more pain. You're not 100% plant-based yet, working towards that. You know, wherever you are on your journey, Michelle, is awesome. Thank you for sharing more in depth about your health issues. There are probably people here that are reading this that can relate. So yes, it's really powerful to know that the plant foods can totally change our entire life and our bodies. All right, cool. Yeah, of course, Wendy. Thank you for sharing. All right, so I'm going to finish up my mushroom BLT. I have some veganese here. I'm going to add it to both sides of the bread. Now I'm using Ezekiel low sodium whole wheat bread. This is sprouted low sodium whole wheat bread. And I love the sprouted bread because it is going to have more nutrients intact. It's going to be better for our gut microbiome. And in general, you're going to get access to all the micronutrients that are within the sprouted grains themselves. So this is barley and millet. I love this bread. Have you guys seen the Ezekiel bread in the market? Get it. If you've not tried it, awesome. This stuff is so good. And I really like, they have a cinnamon raisin. They have a salt-free, for those of you who are whole food plant-based. And they have a regular whole wheat bread, which I really like. Now I'm spreading the mayo coast to coast. You can see, or wall to wall, all the way to the edges here. This is looking really good. Debbie, I appreciate you, lady. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I'm going to repeat this for Sita. Sita's asking, what was the marinade for the mushrooms? It's really simple, okay? Really quickly, it's coconut aminos or liquid aminos or a combination of both. It's a little bit of smoked paprika. If you want more smokiness, Sita, you can add a little Hickory liquid smoke. I'll add the link to this bottle that I have. I love it, from Amazon. A little sherry vinegar or balsamic vinegar, a little maple syrup, oopsie, and a little bit of avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, or water, or none. You can just have the marinade without those last ingredients. So that's it. That's as simple as it is. You want to just marinate your mushrooms. It took me just a second, and then put it in the over the mushrooms. Let the mushrooms soak it up, and then put these mushrooms in the oven. I'm just going to check it out. I want to make sure that these are looking good. I'm going to increase my heat here. Perfect. And let's get the rest of this sandwich working. Oh, wait, hold on. I see a good comment from Mario. I'm going to put this up, Mario. Thank you for sharing. Mario Montez says, I went cold turkey, whole food, plant-based, no oil 2 years ago after being diagnosed diabetic. A1C was 14 2 years later, no medication, no doctor follow-ups until 3 weeks ago. My blood results just came back, he said, with A1C at 5.4, totally strict with my diet. Thyroid was also normal. You know, Mario, that deserves one of these. You're awesome. The A1C levels are the indicator if someone is diabetic or approaching diabetes. I'm really proud of you. It sounds like you really committed to your health and you jumped in. You're one of these people that goes completely in. We call you cold turkey. I love that you call yourself that as well. That's cold turkey style, where you just decide you're going to commit to this and you're going to do it fully. Now, there's not one way to do this right. If you are cool turkey, my friend Zane always says, I'm not cold turkey, I'm cool turkey, meaning you don't want to fully go into, only plant foods and into being a vegan or plant-based person. You want to have some meat or animal products and then some plants, but using plants as the priority. That's okay too. So whatever you can do to find your rhythm and find your way, know that it's going to work for you. I mean, we've had Mario here as an example. Mario just shared he went fully in and it changed his life, right? It changed the way his body is responding. It changed his blood came back normal. His thyroid was also normal. And then we have, Wendy Haas here, who's, saying, Wendy and Michelle, not totally whole food plant-based and not totally 100% plant-based either, but working towards that, and you don't even have to be working towards it. You're already seeing the effects of going plant-based without actually even needing to go fully in. So whatever your rhythm, you're going to find your way. And I really appreciate you for sharing. Thank you, Mario. Thank you so much. All right, you guys, let's finish this up. Oh, I'm really smelling these mushrooms now. Keep going, mushrooms. You're almost there. This is a mushroom BLT. I'm going to add an A in there, Sando after all. So I'm going to add a little T, that's our tomato here. I'm going to add a little L, which is our delicious lettuce here. These are little gem lettuces. All of the produce comes from Melissa's Produce. If you're interested, you guys can check them out. Melissa's Produce is our produce sponsor for the show, and I'm really grateful for Melissa's. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this Hass avocado. Now, it is Hass avocado season here in California, and I really love these. I love to store my avocados with these sustainable food wraps. Now, one of the things that I've noticed since going plant-based is not only have I changed my diet, but I've changed my lifestyle. So I've talked about this in the past, but I'll say it again. I've noticed that since going plant-based, I am more sustainably minded holistically in all of the ways. So I'm really more mindful now of everything I do, how I spend my money, what I watch on television, who I spend time with, right? That's been a huge thing for me. Really, my life has changed dramatically since going plant-based. And one of the things that I'm noticing is I'm more sustainably minded. So I love these. These are really cool food wraps. They are more sustainable than your single-use plastic or your Ziploc bags. We have to get away from using those, you guys, for two reasons. Again, it's just like eating animals. It's going to affect more than just your pocketbook if you give up single-use plastic. Not only is it going to affect and impact and improve the environment, because we're not going to be filling up our landfills with plastic that takes hundreds of years to break down, but it also helps our health. And here's why. Did you know that single-use plastic like Ziploc bags and saran wrap, all of this contains really intense levels of plastic that can get into our endocrine system. They can actually get into our gut microbiome. So if you're using plastic bags on a day in and day out basis, it's actually been studied and shown now that plastic really can seep into our gut microbiome, so the lining of our stomach. And they're finding that people sometimes with GI issues, it's not just about what they eat, it's about the things that they fill their homes with, the chemicals that they use, the plastics that they store their foods in. All of this matters, not just for our health, but for the environment. So it's like everything has a global effect. And it's interesting, I think, to kind of keep that in mind, right? All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of this avocado. I love these wraps. I got to tell you, I opened up this avocado several days ago, and it stays nice and green and delicious for a lot longer when I'm using these food wraps. And it's really great because the food wraps can go right around, round ingredients like tomatoes and avocado. So if it's great. You can just like wash these. You can throw them in the dishwasher. They're awesome. So check those out. I'll put it on my Amazon link. All right. Avocado going down first. And just fill up this sando. And you guys, I'm going to wrap this up now because I know I'm going over because we had some audio issues. And I'm talking. All right, a little bit of the tomato. Perfect. Now, if I want, I can actually sprinkle this with a little pepper and salt. I think I'm going to go pepper. Why not the avocado too, right? And some lettuce. I love this lettuce. I kind of want it to be under the avocado. We eat with our eyes first, and I want to showcase this kind of like the lettuce should have been first. I'm sorry about it. I want to showcase this as beautifully as possible. So I think lettuce on the bottom is always great. And the lettuce also will keep from the marinade from making the mushroom marinade from making the bread too soggy. Okay, already this looks amazing, right? We just have tomato and avocado. So yum. Let me clear the decks here. And I'm smelling these mushrooms. I think that the mushrooms are nearly there. Let me go ahead and check. All right, so I could let these go a little longer, but for the sake of time, I'm going to serve it up right now. Here's one tray. Look at these mushrooms, mushroom bacon right here for you guys. Now, portobellos work really well too because they're big, thick, and long, so it looks like bacon pieces, but this is going to be fantastic as it is. What I'm going to do is actually take the mushrooms out onto a plate first, just to let them cool. Hi, Kelly. I love the happy face. Thank you for being here. I'm going to let these cool down, and then I'll add them right to my tomato. I like adding the mushrooms to the tomato because it's going to season up the tomato a little bit. It's so yummy. It's really yummy. Okay. Gosh, this looks so good. Yum. Really yummy. All right. That's it. These in the camera view so you can see. Let me just taste a mushroom before we finish up. Before I do, I want to give this food a little gratitude. Thank you, mushroom. Thank you, God. Oh, man. It's sweet. It's savory. It has an umami flavor. So good. Really yummy. All right, time to plate it. Like I said, I'm going to put the mushroom bacon right on the tomatoes. Load it too, right? One of the cool things about plant-based eating is that you can eat it ad libitum. That means without restriction, and you really can. It's amazing how much plant foods the body really craves, especially once you really get into it. All right, you guys, that's what I have for you. I need to plate this before we wrap so I can show you higher on the camera. Gosh, this looks so good. I'm going to just present it open face style, you guys. Mushroom BLT Sando right for you. Come on, if this doesn't look good, I don't know what will look good to you. I think this one is a winner though, you guys. Check out this recipe. I really want you to try this recipe and make it your own. And if you make it your own, let's say you use shiitake mushrooms or anything else, take a picture, will you, and post it in our Facebook group, Plant-Based Made Easy. We are a huge community, global community of people from all over the world that are either fully plant-based or somewhat plant-based, and all of us are going to meet in the middle and align and help each other, support each other. That's what this is all about, especially this moment in time. This season in life is so important. It's time to get healthy, you guys. It's time to help one another, and I want to help you do that. So please use me as a resource, and please download my cookbook, Plant-Based Made Easy. We are on issue number 9. You can purchase this as a one-off cookbook, or you can purchase all of the cookbooks, become a monthly cookbook member, and you will get a new cookbook delivered to your inbox right when it becomes available. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day or your evening. Please come back for more, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.